So, very good morning to all of you, and I hope all of you have joined in the class and the audio video is all good, right? So, you are undergoing a professional course, right? Getting a professional degree over there, and obviously, for becoming a professional, once you become, yes, you also need to know the ethics associated with the profession. So, with that in mind, we have started our discussion on one of the very important scoring and big chapter of CA final audit. Yes, that is the professional ethics. Okay, right. So, in professional ethics, we discuss the provisions of the Chartered Accountants Act, right? The Chartered Accountants Act 1949, in which we first discuss a few sections of the Chartered Accountants Act, like Section 2.2, members who are deemed to be in practice. Then we discuss Section 8, disabilities for membership. Then we discuss Section 7, members to be known as Chartered Accountants. Then Section 27, which is regarding the maintenance of the branch offices, which says that each office of a CA should be under the separate charge of a member of the institute. Okay. Then we studied the KYC norms for CAs in practice, the disciplinary procedure mechanism. What if anybody wants to file a complaint against the chartered accountant, where the complaint can be filed, what action can be taken against the chartered accountant, right? So all that we discussed, and then we came to our discussion to the two schedules to the Chartered Accountants Act, right? Namely the first schedule and the second schedule, right? First schedule divided under four parts: the part 1, part 2, part 3, and the part 4. And second schedule divided under three parts: the part 1, part 2, and the part 3. Right, first schedule, right? The part 1 over there is professional misconduct for CA in practice. That means it is applicable only for the practicing chartered accountants. And what does it say? As per clause 1 to 12, right? There are 12 clauses over there of part 1 of first schedule to the Chartered Accountants Act 1949. A chartered accountant in practice is deemed to be guilty of professional misconduct if he, right? And then we start with 111, 211, and so on, right? So we said practice by non-CAs. If you allow an unqualified person to act as a qualified accountant, right, then guilty of professional misconduct under 111, right? Then 211, 311, we say cut practice not allowed, right? Not to share your fees with anybody, not to accept a share from anybody, otherwise the CA will be guilty under 211 and 311, right? 211, 311 is CA in practice, and then we have 121 and 221, which is not to share, not to accept for CA in service. Okay, right? Then clause 4 part 1 first schedule is regarding enters into partnership, right, in or outside India with any person other than, right, ICAI member or member of any other professional bodies, the specified qualified persons, or which is recognized by the central government or the council, right? Then clause 5 secures professional work, right, through a person who is not his employee, through who is not his partner, or through means which are not open to a CA, right? So canvassing Amul butter, Maska polish, and putting a jack or a political reference and trying to secure professional business, it says guilty of misconduct under 511. Right, then we came to one of the most important and the huge clause over there, which was 611, right? I hope all of you have done the writing practice for 611, right? As per clause 6 of part 1 of first schedule, the chartered accountant will be guilty if he solicits client or professional work directly or indirectly by CAPIB, right? So circular, advertisement, personal communication, interview, or by any other means, provided that nothing contained herein shall be construed as preventing or prohibiting a CA from ARIS. What is ARIS? Applying, requesting, inviting, securing professional work from another CA in practice, or responding to tenders or inquiries issued by various users of professional services from time to time, and getting the professional work as a consequence, right? So if you ask for work, if you say, Ori, please give me some work, it says out. If you make some noise, if you blow your trumpet, you're guilty of professional misconduct under 611 and also under the 711, right? So 611, it says not to solicit, right? Then we come to 711. What is 711? Advertises his professional attainments or services, right? So advertising professional attainments, like best taxation, best auditor in the country, best taxation services, tax expert, expert, right? So advertises as professional attainments or services, or uses designation or expression other than that of CA on a professional document such as letterhead, signboard, visiting card, unless it be a degree of university established by law in India, recognized by central government, title indicating membership of ICAI, or an institution whose membership is recognized by the central government or the council. And provided that a member in practice may advertise through a write-up subject to the guidelines issued by the council. Right? So under 711, we have two misconduct and two exception. If you advertise your professional attainments, guilty. If you use improper wrong designation, like you say, I'm a cost consultant, I'm a legal advisor, I'm a cyber security expert, I'm a member of parliament, it says out. Guilty of professional misconduct under 711. But what is allowed? What are the exceptions? One, degree of university established by law in India, allowed. Recognized by central government, like, registered valuer and insolvency professional, allowed. Right, that would be allowed. Then title indicating membership of ICAI, or those which is recognized by the central government or the council. Right, so that would be allowed. And then we said, can a CA advertise through a write-up? Can he advertise through a write-up? Yes, it could be the write-up of the member, or it could be the write-up of the firm. And we also saw the write-up guidelines over there. Okay. Do you remember what could be the maximum font size of the write-up? Something like that. Did we discuss over there? Okay, write-up may include only the following information, then disparaging references, unsubstantiated, any sort of comparisons, and any testimonials, endorsements, all of that should not be there in the write-up. Yes, exactly. Write-up should not be of a font size exceeding 14, right? So that's also given in the guideline over there. Okay, right. Then we studied a lot of clarifications of ICAI for 711, right? Like we studied regarding the merchant banker advisor to an issue. Client can mention in the offer documents, but CA cannot mention on his professional documents, right? Then can CA act as an advocate? Yes, subject to the permission of the Bar Council, but he cannot use the designation CA and advocate simultaneously. Same for company secretary, cost accountant. He cannot use the designation simultaneously. Right. Then after that, can CA print a visiting card? Yes. But can he put his photograph on the visiting card? No. But can he put the QR code? Yes. QR code is permissible. Okay. Right. Then can a CA in practice also be a director in a company? And then that information regarding that director, would it be put in the prospectus, public announcement of the companies? Yes. So attention is invited to clause 6 and 7 of the part 1 of the first schedule. The member concerned has to take steps. He has to invite the attention of the management to clause 6 and 7. Right, he has to invite the attention, and he has to check that there is no solicitation, there is no advertisement. Right, firm name is not allowed to be given. Okay, right, so that is what we had discussed about 711. Right, then after that we came to our discussion. I'm just revising what we discussed in our previous class, right, and then we proceed further. Then after that we came to our discussion on 811. Right, do you remember what 811 was about? 811. Yes, 811. I hope all of you are able to join in, and yes, yes, all good with all of you. Okay, right. So 811, exactly. It's regarding the NOC, right? So what does it say? Accepts appointment as an auditor previously held by another chartered accountant without first communicating with him in writing. Right, so without taking an NOC from the outgoing auditor, if auditor you accept the audit, then you are guilty of professional misconduct under 811. Right, guilty under 811. And then we studied, oh my god, so many rules regarding the NOC. First one, okay, when to send the request for NOC? Before accepting the audit, not before starting the audit or before signing the report, before accepting the audit. Then after you send the request for NOC, you wait for a reasonable time. What is reasonable time? Depends upon the facts and circumstances of of the case. Okay. Then how to send the request for NOC? We have two traditional modes and two modern modes. Yes, what are the traditional modes? By hand against the written acknowledgement or by the registered post acknowledgement due. Right? And modern modes, it says an acknowledgement from the retiring auditor from his last known email address or the email address which is registered with the institute. Or you could generate a UDIN, a unique document identification number for the same on the UDIN portal. Right, it could be on the UDIN portal. Okay, right. Is NOC required for all types of audit? Yes, if previous auditor is a CA, then NOC is mandatory. If previous auditor is non-CA, then it says healthy practice to communicate. Right? Is internal auditor required to take NOC from statutory auditor? No. Why? Because NOC is required for replacement positions and not for the parallel positions. Okay. Right. Then after that, we studied income tax, special auditor appointed under the Income Tax Act. Should he take an NOC from the statutory auditor, regular auditor? The ethics say it is a healthy practice to communicate. Right? It would be a healthy practice. Then government audit, is NOC required to be taken? Yes, but what does it say? You can send the request for NOC, wait, or what you say, give a conditional acceptance. No need to wait for a reasonable time. Give a conditional acceptance and start with the more important work immediately. Right, then what if the premises are found locked? Deemed to be delivered. What if the firm is not found at the registered address? Deemed to be delivered. What if client wants to change the auditor? Then client should inform the previous auditor. Right? If still the client is not, and then you send the NOC, but client is not willing to take the first step, then preferably healthy practice not to accept the audit. But still, if you decide to accept the audit, you have to send the request for NOC. Right, then again, incoming auditor should come to know the circumstances, okay, why the auditor is being changed. Then what are the professional reasons for not accepting the audit? Yes, what are the professional reasons? One, there is non-compliance of section 139, 140. Right. Second, what does it say? That undisputed audit fees of the previous auditor have not been paid, or the issuance of a qualified report. Right. These are the professional reasons for not accepting the audit. And then we studied undercutting of fees. Like, the new auditor is doing the audit at a lower fee. Will that be guilty of professional misconduct? No, that is not guilty of professional misconduct. Okay. Right. So that's all what we had discussed regarding the 811, and we saw a lot of questions also over there. Then we came to 911. What was 911? Accepts appointment as an auditor of a company without first ascertaining whether the requirements of section 139 and section 140 of the Companies Act 2013 in respect of such appointment have been duly complied with. Right, so incoming auditor, you have to check whether the provisions of 139 and 140 have been complied with. To ascertain, you have to find out for certain, right? To find it out for certain. That means you need to check the records like the board resolution, general meeting resolution, minutes, central government approval, notice for the meeting. Only obtaining a compliance certificate from the management will not be right. Right, so incoming auditor, you have to check that whether the company has complied with the provisions of section 139 and section 140. Section 139 is regarding the appointment of the company auditor, and 140, it is regarding the removal of the company auditor or the resignation of the company auditor. Okay, right, so that was clause 9, 139. Clause 9, 139. Okay. Then we started with clause 10, right? We completed with the clause 10. What was clause 10? Right? What was clause 10? Yes. What is not allowed? When will you be like out, guilty of professional misconduct? Yes, percentage contingent basis fees, right? So what do we say? Charges or offers to charge, accepts or offers to accept in respect of his professional employment. Any fees which are based on percentage of profits or which are contingent upon the results of his finding or of such employment, except as permitted under the regulations under the Act. Right? So percentage basis fees like auditor remuneration, 2% of net profits, out. You understand? Then after that, it says contingent basis fees. Okay, if we win the case, you pay the fee or you don't pay the fees. Not allowed. Right? So percentage basis, contingent basis, guilty of professional misconduct under 10(1)(1), except as permitted under the regulations under the Act, right? So what is given under the regulations under the Act? Receiver, liquidator. You remember the 8 points, right? Receiver, liquidator, auditor of a cooperative society. Then you have the valuer for direct taxes and duties. Wonderful. Then certain management consultancy services, certain fundraising services, okay, then debt recovery services, super, then cost optimization service, and last one, any other service or audit. And in that any other service or audit, we have two acting as the insolvency professional and NA to NA, that is non-assurance services to the non-audit clients. Right, NA to NA, that is non-assurance services to the non-audit clients. Right, is that clear to all of you? Okay, right. So we said receiver, liquidator, cooperative society, valuer for direct taxes, all these cases, percentage basis fees would be allowed. Right, and why it says otherwise, normally why percentage contingent basis fees is not allowed? Because it would affect the independence of the auditor. Right, it would affect the independence of the auditor. Right, the auditor will, his personal, he knows that, oh, if my fee is percentage basis, profit basis, obviously the more the profit, the more the remuneration. So in that case, he will be tempted to override his conscience and may decide to cut the cross legal requirement for his own personal benefit. And this danger will not arise so long as the fees are based merely on the value of the time and effort. So whether they have a loss of 100 crore or a profit of 100 crore, you know that your audit fee is going to be 25 lakh. And that what you are going to receive is, say, example, 25 lakh. Okay, and so that is clause 10, part 1, first schedule, which is regarding the percentage contingent basis fees. Okay, then we started with, we couldn't complete the question bank, but we started with our discussion on the clause 11 of the part 1 of the first schedule. Right, so I'm happy that few of you I am able to see you. Right, so be attentive in the class. Okay, right, so clause 11 of the part 1 of the first schedule. Yes, do you remember? I hope the books have also reached to you. We are also on a new app, like we've migrated from one, some technical issues. I thought new syllabus, let me try with a new app also, but some issues came up. So now we have come up with a better one, right? So even the lectures recorded, so taken so far have been recorded, uploaded on the app. The Google Drive link is provided, right? I hope the book would have also reached to you. So I just keep my fingers crossed, ensuring and assuming that all the needful has been done. Okay, right. Anyways, let me come to 11.1.1. Okay, so book is not yet received, so probably, I don't know, maybe some location, it might take time, but maybe by now it should have reached. So there is a WhatsApp group created, so you can just raise the concern over there now. Okay, right. So now coming to clause 11, part 1 of the first schedule. What does it say? Okay, what all can you do along with CA practice? You say, ma'am, life will be so boring, only CA practice I'm doing, something else. So then institute says, wait, we will tell you what you can do and what you need to take permission from us. Okay, so how does, see, first word is very important, na? Otherwise exam mein how you will write? You won't be able to write in the exam. That first word has to come to your mind, right? Once you remember the first word, then the rest of the content flows, right? So engages in any other business or occupation other than the profession of chartered accountancy, unless permitted by the council so to engage, right? Provided that nothing contained herein shall disentitle a CA from being a director other than managing whole-time director, unless he or his partners are interested in such a company as an auditor. Right, so that is what we have regarding 11.1.1. Any other business or occupation. So CA is selling some domain which he has. We said no, institute has not given you permission, you're guilty. CA is trading in commodity derivative. We said trading in commodity derivative is not covered in the list of general permission. So CA guilty of professional misconduct. CA is owning agricultural land and carrying out agricultural activities. He's having a farm office. We said, ma'am, that is allowed. Why that is allowed? Because that is there in the list of permission granted generally. That Ram and Ratan, they were doing private tutorship. We said that is allowed. Why? Because council has given general permission for that. Life insurance agency license for the limited purpose of getting the renewal commission, it says allowed. Right? Employment under a CA or a firm of CAs in practice, it says allowed. Acting as notary public justice of peace special executive magistrate, it says allowed. Recovery consultant in banking sector, allowed. Insurance financial advisory services, it says general permission giving. Acting as a paper setter, paper evaluator and moderator for any examination, allowed. Attending any classes or writing any exams, it says allowed. Editorship of professional journal, allowed. Part-time tutorship under the coaching organization of the institute, allowed. Right? So this is all given. An authorship of books and articles, allowed. Editorship of professional journals, allowed. Right? So that's all given under the list of permission granted generally, where you don't need to take the permission of the ICAI. Like, I'm a practicing chartered accountant. Can I do private tutorship? It says yes. No need to take a permission. It is generally allowed. And then we have the cases of the specific and the prior approval of the council is required in each case. Right? Specific, prior, each. Right? So employment in a business concern, right, where you or relatives do not hold substantial interest. Then managing whole-time director, again of a concern where you or relative do not hold substantial interest. Or you're getting an interest in a family business as an account on account of, be inheritance, succession, partition, or a relationship. And you're not taking any active part in the management over there. Right? Editorship of other than professional journal. Right? Editorship of other than the professional journal. Right? So it says for these ones, you need to take the specific and the prior approval of the council in each case. And then at last point is what? Any other service, engagement, occupation for which the council considers that the permission may be granted. Right? So that's like the balancing figure. Right? So any other. So you apply to the council, take their permission. If they allow, you can do. Otherwise, one of the two. Either you surrender your COP or you surrender doing that other business or occupation. Okay. Right. So are we good? Right? Do you all remember till here? This is what we had discussed.